Have you really thought about the lessons that you should be getting out of a moment of crisis? Welcome to my channel, This Life Reconsidered, where the goal is to provide you with doses of inspiration and to look for the teachable moment from every life event. My name is Janina Nunez. So who am I to share all this? To be honest, I'm a survivor of stroke. A couple years ago, the stories that ran in the media will be included in the description box so you can kind of get caught up. Anyway, after that all happened, I decided that I was going to approach life from a completely different standpoint. I didn't become some type of magical guru, but instead, very honest of the fact that I probably wasn't really thinking about things and life correctly. So I decided to kind of find a meaning in every life event and make sure that I was teaching myself to be a better version of the version that I was before all that happened. Hence the channel and why I'm coming to you and hoping that you'll join me on this journey. After surviving that stroke, I decided that I was going to take a look at the experience for what it was and try to unpack it into some teachable lessons to make me a better version of myself. I was going to focus on if this is what I had to live through, then I was going to get as much out of the moment as I could. So that way I would not only kind of embrace life, but not walk around with kind of like a negative sentiment. That said, if you grab some of these nuggets and it helps you reframe things, then I've done what my goal is. Because again, the goal here is to inspire and encourage and motivate. Number one, you should live cautiously, but not fearfully. This one was really hard for me. As a person that has a tendency to be a natural scaredy cat, and I'll own that, I found myself obsessing with what was going to happen to me and was I going to be fine and what did this mean for my career and thinking about all of these superficial things that don't seem to matter. And as opposed to focusing on how am I going to live from this point, I just became obsessed with all the wrong details. So as I started thinking about the way that I was spiraling and the way that I was emotionally kind of suppressing and stifling myself, I realized that as opposed to kind of asking all these questions that I really didn't have the answers to, that maybe I should just focus on living, but doing it cautiously and not being as afraid. Because the way I see it, now that I have the opportunity and I'm here, now I owe it to myself to take care of myself. And as long as I do that, then I've already won. So to me, that was a benefit. Number two, all your choices should be focused on your personal self-care. Now, this should be pretty logical and shouldn't need to be said, but you'd be surprised at how easy it is to forget that. Me personally, as a type A, I wanted to put everything else in front of me and deal with it. And that just wasn't a healthy way of going about things. So instead of approaching life from that unhealthy and kind of clogged kind of approach, at the end of the day, the only thing that you are responsible for is protecting your mental and physical space, because you only come here in one vessel, in one body. So if you don't take care of it now, is it going to serve you when you need it? Number three, there is nothing wrong with limiting your orbit. This one is a personal favorite. The reality is that when things are really going wrong, everything feels like chaos. At least it does to me. And so what I realized is that this is where it was a great exercise in closing the world and making it a little smaller so that I can deal with it. So that said, directing my energy around the people closest to me and the issues that I had the most passion for, the reality is that life is way too short to let all of that toxic and draining energy all in your universe at the same time if you don't need to. So make the choice to start making your world a little smaller so you can stay as sane as you're going to stay. And I think that that's something that you owe yourself, so you have the point of clarity that you need to be the best version of yourself for other people. Number 4 is a simple one, but still an important one. Finding the upside. The truth of the matter is that there are a million studies and books, and I don't need to kind of belabor all of that. I could even link to a couple of great books that talk about happiness and how happiness does wonders for you. That said, the best thing that you can do for yourself is not only looking for the positive stuff, but also giving yourself an opportunity to correct the way that your brain processes information so that you're looking for as much of the positive as you can process. There are many things that you can lean on, whether that's kind of mantras or however you choose to find that level of happiness. Or you can do things like check into a channel like this in which we're focused on the positive. Number 5, there is nothing wrong with embracing flexibility. Now, as a type A personality, this one was especially a tough one for me to accept. And I say that because I have been obsessed with having nice roadmaps and having very detailed lists, knowing where I was going to end up. And that was really important for me because I loved control. But when I lost control and health stepped in and I had to start kind of reevaluating things and reprioritizing things, I realized that now was an opportunity to test my strength. And if I really was as flexible and as strong to not only navigate through a situation, but to still find my way to where I'm supposed to be, even if I don't have a nicely, neatly drawn map. I realize that some of the most successful people and the strongest people are the ones that can find their way regardless of how messy things may look. Number 6, bad times come to an end. These are really messy, confusing, dark times, and they may seem like they're just going to go on forever. But the reality is that's not true. At the end of the day, things come to an end, and your job is to make them as less painful for yourself so you can move on and know that there's going to be a rainbow on the other side. Don't forget to hit that little bell and that subscribe button if you want to get more content like this. Thanks for joining me, and until the next one.